Alright guys, we're going to be installing mud flaps from RallyArmor onto my 2014 Mitsubishi Ralliart. One thing that you want to do when you order something online is do an inventory check. So it comes with obviously the 4 mud flaps. You got screws, 16 rectangle brackets, 2 L brackets, and 16 washers, 14 small screws and 2 long screws, with 2 spacers as well for the front. We'll go ahead and we'll start it up, and I'll show you how to do it step by step. So first step, you got to take off the body paneling screws. These here, you just use a flat tip screwdriver, get in behind it, pop it out. The Mitsubishi uses these throughout the car, like under the hood, anything to hold down a piece of plastic. So you pop these out, just like so, pull it out. Make sure you keep them as well, because you never know because they break pretty easily, and like I said, they use them all over the place. So you never know when you might be able to use it to replace a broken one, since these here are going to be unused with the mud flaps. And then from here, you move the plastic wheel well out away from the body, and this is where you take the rectangle clamps and you slide them onto the holes in behind where the plugs came out of, with this part facing in where you can't see it. That part is where the screw, when you put it in, will actually go through, and it will embed itself into the rectangle fitting like this. It'll go through, and it actually needs to scour itself into the plastic. This here's the one that I told you about that needs the spacer, because you see how it angles in. You just put the spacer as follows. So for the order of assembly with this one, you put the spacer on the back side of the mud flap like so. Put the screw through one washer, through the mud flap, through the spacer, and then you put it into the hole in the body. And if you don't have a small screwdriver like this one, I didn't have one, so I used this this custom wrench that I bought. So it works because you can fit it inside here, and it'll screws on nicely that way, because you don't want to use a long screwdriver to damage your rims. Once that's on a little bit, you can just leave that there. The next thing that you want to do is get the next bolts ready, and with that, you just put it through the washer itself, and then you put it through the mud flap. One part that I forgot to do also, you got to push the liner back in underneath this bottom lip here. And I'll warn you now, it's easier when you don't put the mud flap on first. Come on. It's like so, and then it hugs the body nicely again. So just continue, screw through the washer, through the top, and then into the hole, and then screw it in, take it home. Now, when you screw these in, you don't want to screw it in too far, because with the rectangle bracket, the screw, if you screw it in too tight, will start to wear it'll strip the threads in the plastic, and it won't sit well on your car, or it won't be as secure, sorry. So you got to be careful not to screw it in too far, or else it'll break off, and then you'll have a loose mud flap. just to clarify, guys, when you're doing it, do the top screw first. Put that in because it hangs it down. You don't have to hold it up or anything like that. Do the top one, then do the one with the bracket on the inside, or not the bracket, the spacer, sorry, in the back. Screw, washer, mud flap, spacer. And then for all the other ones, screw, washer, mud flap into the car. You got to pull the plastic liner from the inside of the wheel well out from behind your body kit lip. Pull that out, put the clips in, put the body panel back together, put the plastic piece back behind the body panel, and then you can put your mud flap on. Make sure that it's straight and the angle that you want it, how far out you want it, and then bam, that's it. You got your front mud flap on. So as you can see, it's easier if you take off your rear wheel in order to get to this side, because there's not a lot of space in between the wheel and the body. Now these here are mud flaps off of an Outlander or an RVR or something like that. They, when I got the car, I asked for mud flaps and they gave me these.
So it's pretty lame. When I was talking with these mud flaps, I was telling that's the ones that I originally wanted, but they couldn't provide that, I guess. So this is what I got. It was worth like $60 or something like that. I'll just sell them to someone that would prefer them. You got the two, and you got another one over here apparently, which sucks. There's a really annoying little tab over here that's like the other tabs, but different all at the same time. Because instead of just being circle all the way around that you can pry up, it's a circle that's got little, it's like a crosshairs essentially, and it won't let your screwdriver in at certain spots. So it's really annoying to get at, and even more annoying to get undone. Really hate these ones.
Victory is mine. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. You can see it's got all these little lips all on it. It's not. It's got all these little raised parts on it, so when this pushes down, it only leaves these little spots to get at, which is really stupid and really annoying when the other ones are completely different altogether. And there's another one on the back. That's great. I love them so much.
Looks like somebody else also had a basically trying to get this one out too.
So yeah, these here are the Mitsubishi factory cheap ass mud flap, mud brick. Alright, so now, the same as we did in the front, we take the plastic part off. Don't forget about this part. Like that. Put the plastic liner away, and then you're able to do it. Alright guys, for the rear one, it really gets annoying because you have this little bracket thing here. What you got to do for starters is you got to put one of the rectangle clamps onto the long slot hole, just like so. Make sure that you can feed a screw through it. And what I did to make it a little bit easier is I put the screw on and just fed it through a few threads to start the scoring. Because what you have to do with this one is you actually have to put it through the plastic part of your car, because for some reason there's no hole there for this spot that's made. Now the other thing that you could do, you could obviously just get a drill and drill a hole in it, and that would make sense. but I don't have a drill, so this is how I do it. The other thing that I found that was really weird about this kit is these are circles, and then on your rear body paneling and on your rear wheel well, the holes are square. In case you can't see it, they're square instead of round. So these don't really fit in it very well, but it still works, which is what's important. So you put your clamps on in the back, obviously. Just like so. For the clamp on the bottom, put it on the inside of the wheel well on this plastic piece instead of on the fiberglass plastic or whatever this is made out of. Don't put it on that part because it doesn't fit on it very well. Put it on the plastic part right here on the bottom. So when you slide it back in, because you got to slide it back on, right, like so. So you got to go the body piece onto the plastic piece. So when you put the bracket on, it ends up sitting like this, just like that, and then you put a screw through your plastic wall and into the in through here, and it all dogs down like that. So you got to put the plastic part back in behind the outside body paneling. Put this top screw back in because you won't need to pry this apart again unless you mess something up. What I would do, obviously, again, like in the very beginning, put the front mud flap, is put the top flap in first, or the top screw in, just to have it hang there, so you get a general idea of where you want it to hang when it's all done. So when you have it like that, and you have it at the angle that you want it, that's where you want to put your screw through the plastic, kind of like score a little bit along the line. So that's about where the hole is going to go through. Once it's all dogged down, it's lined up, so I'm going to put it right at the very end like that. Right where this line is here that I have, and it's lined up with the bottom hole pretty nicely. Just need a little bit of elbow grease to move it over. And then just to get this out of the way, take it off and then put it on after you have it this bracket screwed into the side. Explains it kind of vaguely in the instructions, but what it does say clearly is to put the mud flap and attach it to the bottom bracket last. So just like that. That there was basically a pilot hole. So once you have your pilot hole, you back the screw out, because you still have to attach your mud flap, obviously. Now, as you can see, I'm having troubles because my screwdriver's hit the caliper and everything. So do your best to have a shorter screwdriver. So now from there, this is where you want to attach your mud flap. Again, hang it first with the top one, just to make it easier for yourself, straight on that you want. And tighten them all down, and then you got your mud flap on. Put your wheel back on and you're ready to roll.
I'm gonna go for a smoke after this one. You can look down if you want to take a little bit to get this on. Yeah, that's how you come back. No, just take your clicker. Yeah, I'll go by the right shoulder. It's in the car again. It's already in the car. Did I give it back to you? Yeah. Where is it?
That's what the finished product looks like there, folks.